আসসালামু আলাইকুম এভরিওয়ান। উপদেশ দিতে কে না ভালোবাসে? ছোট হোক বড় হোক সবাই কিন্তু উপদেশ দিতে খুব ভালোবাসে। কিন্তু আপনি ইউএসএ তে কোন টোনে কি বলতেছেন এটা কিন্তু খুবই ম্যাটার করে। যেমন আপনার বন্ধু যদি এসে কোনো উপদেশ চায় আপনি একভাবে দিতে পারেন, কিন্তু কোনো মেয়ে যদি এসে আপনাকে কিছু বলে কিন্তু আপনি যদি উপদেশ দিতে চান সেক্ষেত্রে কিন্তু আসলে হিতে বিপরীত হতে পারে। সো ইউ নেভার নো what's coming. সো সেই অ্যাঙ্গেল থেকে আজকে ভিডিওটা আজকে আমরা দেখবো যে কোন ক্ষেত্রে বা কিভাবে আমরা উপদেশ দিতে পারি, স্পেশালি ইউএস কালচারে, ছেলের ক্ষেত্রে, মেয়ের ক্ষেত্রে, বা ফর্মাল সেটআপ বা ইনফর্মাল সেটআপ। সো লুক, is one of my student here he's gonna explain what are the ways Americans actually give and take advices. So look, here you go.
All right. Yeah, like you said, I'm Luke, and today we will talk a little bit on advice and the best way to give it, and kind of the situations where you'll need to give it and what you'll have to say. So these four are kind of like the base things you can say. They're all good. They're all good for different situations. We'll start off with a pretty common one. This is like someone if someone asks you for advice specifically. And then just keep in mind for a lot of these, it'll depend. You need to know who you're talking to, because, you know, if you're talking to a guy and he tells you about a problem, he probably wants your advice. But if you're talking to a girl and she is just complaining, she might get mad at you if you offer her advice unsolicited. Yeah.
All right.
So you have to, you need to know who you're talking to, and that'll really help you with some of these. So the first one is you should, and then you would say you should, and then you give them the solution to what their problem is. So if someone says, I haven't been getting any sleep recently, what should I do? You'd say, oh, you should, and then you give the solution. You should try taking melatonin. You should try getting off your phone an hour before bed, something like that. So definitely you can use that one when people want advice and have asked you. If someone is just complaining and it's kind of, you don't know if they want advice or they just want to complain, maybe don't do that one. Use one of the other ones, but we'll talk about that. Another close one to that, because so you should, it has a little more authority than these other ones. These other ones are a little less formal. That one's a little more formal, a little more authority. Is how that will be perceived. Another one is you need to, and that one, if it's a little more urgent, like if someone, you get in someone's car and they turn it on and it just sounds awful, there's something wrong, hey, you need to take your car into the shop. You need to fix this. A third one like that, this is the most authority, like almost like a reprimand, is you ought to. This is kind of more like a Midwest thing where we are. But if someone is, you get in someone's car, they're speeding down the highway, hey, you ought to slow down. There's usually a cop right around the corner. So those three are all a little more formal, a little more authority that you have, but are all good for different situations. This one is a little more friendly, and I like this one a lot. Someone says, I'm having problems with my roommate. They never do the dishes. You'd say, well, why don't you just talk to them and see what happens? Or why don't you just stop doing their dishes and let them pile up,
Okay.
So that's more of a question. And then maybe they'll tell you like, well, I'm afraid to do that. What if they get angry? Can lead to more discussion. But that one's pretty friendly. Pretty informal for close friends. That's a good idea. This is another good one. Someone gives you an issue. Oh, I can't pass this class. I never show up. I always oversleep my alarm. You say, if I were you, then give the solution. If I were you, I'd go to bed earlier so I could wake up. If I were you, I would make a schedule and fill out all my time for the day so I'm not, procrastinating and wasting any time. That's also good, pretty personal, and it kind of shows like, hey, I've been in your shoes. This is what I would do. I've put myself in your position, and I kind of understand. Another good one, kind of like a why don't you, is have you thought about it? This is even more indirect. This could be a good, if you think you shouldn't do, you should, and you're not sure if they want advice, They tell you the problem. Well, have you thought about not texting this person back if they have problems with their ex?
Okay.
Have you thought of not calling them back? Have you thought of blocking them on Instagram or whatever so they can't talk to you? That one's indirect, but still very polite, and you can offer a solution to their problem. And yeah, so these just depend on kind of the situation and who you're talking to and what about it. So yeah, just keep all that in mind. Oops. Here's some more examples for you should. So if someone, you're in the library, you see your friend, their head's on the table, books, laptop, it's all open, but you can tell they're not doing well. You kind of, hey, pat them on the back. You should take a break. You go home and take a nap. That would be a good time to use that. Someone's been coughing for like 3 weeks. I had a friend that did this, just coughing all the time for 3 weeks. And finally, I go, hey, Marie, why don't you go to the doctor? Why haven't you done that? And maybe this could be another opportunity for you to help. Maybe they don't have insurance. Maybe they're scared and they'd like you to go with them. But that could be that's a good, kind of kind way to help their problem. If I were you, you have a buddy going on a first date. He's asking you for advice. Oh, what do I hold her hand? Do I not hold her hand? And you say, well, if I were you, I'd take it slow. Let her make the first move. Maybe she'll grab your hand.
All right.
And then, have you thought about your friend isn't going to class, isn't showing up? You say, hey, have you thought about doing online class? What do you think about that idea? And maybe they haven't. All right, now you guys try a couple of these each, and yeah, just try it out and see how it goes.
অলরাইট, সো আপনারা যেটা দেখলেন, ইউ শুড হচ্ছে খুবই কমন একটা জিনিস এবং খুবই ফর্মাল, যে আপনি কাউকে যদি ফর্মালি কাউকে অ্যাডভাইস দিতে চান, যে কেউ যদি আপনাকে সে কোনো অ্যাডভাইস আসলে জানতে চায় যে হোয়াট শুড আই ডু ইন দ্যাট রিগার্ড, দেন আপনি ইউ শুড দিয়ে অনেক কিছু বলতে পারেন। এটা হচ্ছে কাইন্ড অফ বেশি ফর্মাল। আর আপনি যদি শিওর না হন যে আসলে ওকে আমার অ্যাডভাইস চাচ্ছে নাকি, মানে একটা মেয়ে এসে আপনার সাথে জ্ঞান করতেছে আর কি, যে কি করে এই কাহিনী, তো আপনি শিওর না যে আসলে সে কি কমপ্লেন করতেছে নাকি আসলে কোনো অ্যাডভাইস চাইতেছে, সেক্ষেত্রে এই যে দ্য লাস্ট ওয়ান ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট, যে হ্যাভ ইউ থট অ্যাবাউট, যে এটা হচ্ছে খুব ইনডিরেক্ট ওয়ে অফ সেইং। আরটা খুব পার্সোনাল ওয়ে অ্যাডভাইস দিতে পারেন, সেটা হচ্ছে আপনার বন্ধু হলে, যেমন ইফ আই ওয়ার ইউ, যদি আমি আপনার জায়গায় থাকতাম, আমরা যেটা বাংলায় বলি যে আমি যদি তোমার জায়গায় থাকতাম তাইলে এই করতাম, সেক্ষেত্রে ইফ আই ওয়ার ইউ খুবই ভালো। ওয়াই ডোন্ট ইউ অলসো ভেরি কমন অ্যামং ফ্রেন্ডস। তো আপনার ফ্রেন্ডের ক্ষেত্রে যদি কোনো কিছু বলতে চান, কোনো অ্যাডভাইস দিতে চান, তাহলে ওয়াই ডোন্ট ইউ ডু দিস, অর ওয়াই ডোন্ট ইউ টক টু ইউর প্রফেসর। দিস আর ভেরি কমন ওয়েজ। সো হোপফুলি আপনারা কোথায় কোনটা ব্যবহার করতে হবে বুঝতে পারছেন। লোক যেটা বললো কমেন্টে অবশ্যই 4টা দিয়ে আমরা 4টা অ্যাডভাইস দেখতে চাই। And until next video, I'll see you guys later.
Oh, wait, I thought of one more thing.
Sure.
Might be important. Also, at the end of these, we do this a lot here because we don't want to take responsibility.
All right.
Once you give the advice, you say, I don't know though. You say, I don't know, because then you're not telling them, and if it's bad, it's okay. So you say, if I were you, I'd break up with your boyfriend. I don't know though, because then you take the blame off yourself.
Right.
That's a common way we talk. So you can also keep that in mind too. But I just thought that was funny.
All right. Thanks, man.